Sounds familiar?
Certainly.
It's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even been edited.
No, so we have a theory because we tried to find who in the community was behind this. We couldn't really find anybody. So we think this is, and we're not, this isn't the Power Platform Boost conspiracy podcast or anything. Well, not yet. Maybe we will, maybe we should be, but we're thinking that this is AI finally becoming self-aware, Copilot becoming self-aware, and now beginning to put on virtual conferences on its own without any kind of human involvement.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Platform Boost podcast, your timely source of Power Platform news and updates with your hosts, Nick Dolman and Ulrikke Ackerbeck.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right. We're recording today. We're in the same country, but we're in different spots. So it works.
Same time zone. That helps.
Yes.
Yeah. So we get to record in the morning. You usually record in the morning, but usually it's afternoon for me. But this is morning. So, I'm pumped up on coffee. Ready to go. Don't have anything. I have maybe 2 things on the list because last week, the reason you were here was that we were in a humongous project together and worked day and night for a whole week. Had a day off yesterday. That was good.
Yeah.
What did you do to charge your batteries yesterday? Did you do anything special?
I slept. Yeah, no, I slept in. Of course, I went to the gym in the afternoon. Like here, thanks to our good friend Errol, who's given me some guest passes at the local Fresh Fit. So this time on this trip, for the most part, I was able to keep up on my training schedule.
Yay!
This last week, I missed a couple of days just because we were up late trying to run deployments and then up super early trying to have meetings to discuss fixing deployments, screwing around with connection references. So doing all the fun stuff that you kind of run into on a go live just to make sure everything goes smooth. So my training was a little bumpy. So I did that yesterday. It was good. And if you see us on my Instagram, I'm benching pain-free. So woohoo!
Yay. Oh, that's good. I'm so happy. You picked me up 2 times this week. So you seem to be in very good shape. Yeah, that's good.
I hope so. We'll see. It'll be a game day decision if I go to Canadian Nationals at this point, based on how I'm feeling when I get back. But we'll keep progressing, keep going forward. Not giving up yet.
Your trainer's going to be so proud of you. I know. He's very happy when you keep to your schedule when you're traveling. Yes. And I was so happy because yesterday it's been kind of the weather's been so and so this week, and then yesterday we had blue skies and lots of sun, so I was able to just come home and just stretch out and have an hour in the sun. Oh, I needed that. Went for the run, had fun with the kids, and just rewind and recharge and not work. And then this morning it was just boom, right in there and diving in and keep going. So unfortunately, we did not publish a Boost Quest this previous week, just because there was really actually no time. But the episodes are coming out as they should, because this is a priority for sure. Okay, we have a huge list, and it's mostly your thing. So this is going to be one of those where Nick brings you all the news and updates from last week, and Ulrikke comments and make fun jokes. Ding! Yeah, go. You want to talk about the first thing?
Well, the first one is actually something we found simultaneously, I believe.
This is that one. When I was so proud one morning that I had, I found this great blog post, and I looked at you, and you're just looking at me going with that little smirk that you have on your face going, yeah, she's going to go into the show notes with that link, and what's she going to see? That I beat her to it by minutes or something. And of course I did. So I boldly put both our names on this one.
Yeah. So this one is by Olena Grischenko. And I think she's in Australia. And she has a lot of great content around Power Pages. And it was interesting because this is using Bing address, which I've worked a little bit with the Bing address API as well on some projects over time. So this is really cool that, at first I was a little bit, what she said, like, first, I'm genuinely surprised I couldn't find a Power Pages article on this topic. And I'm kind of like, I've written a couple blog posts, but to be fair, once I kind of read through, I realized that it was more about auto suggesting, filling in things, and like, oh yeah, absolutely. There's still content out there. So thank you, Alina, for writing this. Basically how to use Bing Maps. Now, of course, Bing Maps is being deprecated, but I'm sure all of this could be applied. And she mentions it into the blog as well about using Azure Maps. So kind of, but the idea there is to kind of add Power Pages where you can begin to fill in the address based on, or do an address search based on the Bing Maps API. So it really cool and really helps people filling in forms accurately when they need to fill in like things like address, I've seen data migrations before where the cities are spelled differently and the postal codes are different formats. So yeah, great post on that. I think, what did you get out of this post?
No, exactly what you said. And, in the beginning as well, calling out that there's really not a lot of content about this. And also the insecurity that she kind of opens up with, because I really relate to that. Because when you're kind of looking for something and you can't find information about it on the internet, you're kind of wondering, is it me or is it the internet? Because usually you find but of course, diving into a field, and I find this with the juniors on my team especially, they don't really know what to search for. And so when you're beginning, is it the search words that I'm not using the right words for this, or is it that I don't understand the results that I'm getting, or is it me? Because I don't know about you, but I tend to go there first. Yeah, it's probably me. And I think the way that she lays it out is very logical and easy to follow. So yeah, very good. And also there's something called Google Maps that also have an open API.
But we don't have to do Microsoft stuff all the time.
I'm surprised that anyone actually uses Bing. Bing Maps. There's a reason why it's deprecated. Maybe.
Yes.
4 users worldwide, and that's the reason you can't really find anything on it. Maybe.
Still.
Okay, moving on.
So a couple really, really quick ones. First off, it's Jon Does Flow. Of course, Jon, who's one of the hosts of the Sprint Zero podcast. I think I've got my podcasts and hosts sorted out. But he just had a very quick post. And it's funny, it was one of these things I had to laugh because we've all run into this, I'm sure, where we restore an environment and all of a sudden we dive in and like, why isn't this working? And then you realize, shoot, admin mode. And it was just Jon calling that out. Basically, it's like, yeah, Jon, I think we've all been there. And it's good to have a post because you'll do that search and then you'll see, oh, right, admin mode. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, when you copy and restore environments, also all your Power Automate flows kind of break, and especially custom connectors, they will break. And also we discovered this week, then when you turn on admin mode, it may take up to, what was it? Was it 1 hour or was it a whole day before Power Automate started firing correctly?
Yeah, 24-hour cache or something like that. So that was a bit of a surprise.
Something to be aware of. Yeah. It's I know that it needs to warm up in the morning, but that was, lazy loading. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And,
and something we've been waiting for I'm getting ahead of myself. You wanted to talk about the open with the Temmy
this is just another little quick one. This is by Temmy Wahyu Raharjo. And again, I apologize. Like we always do, we apologize if we mispronounce something. But this is a great little post about, building model-driven apps, which I've been working with a bit, using like the quick creates, using custom pages. And he shows a process to open a lookup in a side pane, which is really good because it kind of keeps you within context of your model-driven app. A little bit of JavaScript, a little bit of, that you'd have to inject there. But overall, pretty straightforward, nice little demo. this could be something that I could potentially, put in my back pocket as a solution if someone asks for this down the road. So yeah, awesome work, Temmy. I love that. I love these little, hey, you could do this kind of posts.
Yeah. We've had Temmy's content on the podcast before. He does a lot of these smaller things. And also, I just wanted to point out the evolution through the different interface modes. Remember, CRM back in the day used to be pop-up windows. Hell, beep. It was a mess. You had a million windows open, and then they kind of turned into the modal views, and suddenly it was a modal pop-ups everywhere. And then you had the navigation phase where you navigated back and forth until you were kind of dizzy. And now it's all right side panel, right side panel for everything. It's kind of funny how it kind of just transitions, from the one to the other. So but it's good to have the ability to control that a bit for sure.
Yeah. And so then the next one is the one that I got excited about. I think, I don't know if you're excited about it, but it's something we've been waiting for and asking for, and they just finally did it because it's like, this should be a quick win. And I think they did.
Yeah. The add component to Power Pages.
Yes.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah. Okay.
That is the one.
Because this is one of those, we were excited about it and then they removed it and then they introduced it and we were excited about it and then back and forth. But finally you're able to add the custom code components, to Power Pages. And that's,
in the designer.
From the designer. So we talked about this, I think, just the last episode and the episode before that. You can create web templates as components, and you can set that up so that the end user would be able to add it through the designer and configure the different inputs. So you can say, for instance, that you can add a title, an image, and a link, and then the end user would get that up on their screen, and they can put in the different titles and images and links, and then they can add it that way. The web template as components part has worked up until this point, and also now they introduced you can use PowerFX for it as well. It's coming, I think, in October or later, and then now finally we're also able to add it through the designer. So great work, team, and I'm glad to see that finally come through.
Yeah.
And now on to something that we have finally fully wrapped our heads around this week: connections and connection references in Power Platform, and
flow ownership.
And flow ownership, and how that works with an upgrade and an update in terms of downstream production pushing. Thank you, Benedikt, for helping out, because that was so. Shout out to Benedikt Bergmann this week, going out of his way to make sure that we did this the right way. I'm sure there are blog posts and videos in the making for both of us around this topic, because then you actually added also, you also started content for a few sessions about this as well, because this is really something that we can't find information about.
Well, it's because it is convoluted. It's sort of like, okay, why you go into an environment, why are there's like 2 bazillion new connection references? Why are there all these connections? Why are they named the same? Why can't I share them? Why can't I take ownership of them? How can I clean all of this up? What's the best practice here? Surely what Microsoft is recommending isn't the best practice. And it is sort of, it's a bit messed up, to be honest. I think it's just the evolution of the platform as well, and how things are. And obviously we need these components to make a good, healthy ALM, but just getting there is a bit of a struggle. And it's very easily, the easy path is very easy, but it causes a whole bunch of problems, where following the correct path, there's a lot of hoops you need to jump through, but it just makes everything better in the end, especially with deployments and using pipelines and running into dependencies and just all this. Blah. So this is something we've learned. And in the meantime, I also found some documentation, about recommendations for reassigning orphan cloud flows from Microsoft Learn, but also interesting, there's a new XrmToolbox, which I haven't dove completely in yet, but just telling you, I ran it on our production environment this morning, and I found connection references that still have my name attached to it using this tool. So,
wow.
this is something to definitely, if you're dealing with this, there are tools and things to help you out, and let's all work as a community to make this process better.
Yeah. I just wanted to, so that we are not just talking around it. I'm very Norwegian. I need to get into the purge, as we say. It doesn't translate well into English, but that's what we're going to do. So just to give people a bit of an understanding of what we're actually talking about, connections hold the credentials and what you need in terms of connecting to a service. That could be Dataverse Legacy, SharePoint, Entra ID, Outlook, etc. Some connections use service principals to connect. Some use just API keys. Some use username and password. It's very different from connection to connection. These are specific to environments. You need to set up your connection for dev in dev, for prod in prod, for test in test, and they don't move. And they cannot be shared with other users. So the logged in user account that create the connection will be the owner of that connection forever. You can share it with the service principal or an app user, but no other users. Now, of course, just a couple of years ago, they introduced connection references, being entities that you can put in a solution that can connect to a flow and can move with the solution from environment to environment. And it's kind of just the link really between the connection and the flow. Now, those are also linked to your user, and that is the default experience. When you go in, create a flow, create a connection or an action, that's going to create a connection reference in that solution automatically tied to your user. Even if, and I've experienced this a lot this week, you go in with the intention of creating a service principal, it creates a connection to your user first. Hence the mess. So by default, by doing everything right and knowing what to do, it still creates a mess and you still have to clean it up. And that's already touching on two big things. One, you cannot share these connections across. And two, you need to know what you're doing and know to clean up after yourself, because the default is creating a mess. And also, the ownership of flows, right? They will automatically be the owner, the user that pushed that flow to production or the downstream environment the first time. Even though you take ownership of that flow in dev and we push it through, it still says that first user on that Power Automate flow in the destination environment. Stuff like that. And also the trick that Benedikt showed us with, of course, you move that solution downstream to your production environment. It's a managed solution. You go in and you try to edit that flow to change those connection references, going to create an unmanaged layer. And we now know how to set production up in a way that doesn't create an unmanaged layer, but at the same time allow us to reconnect these connection references to the production connectors underneath. It's not intuitive and it's very easy to do it the wrong way. And so if you're struggling with this, know two things. One, we struggle with this. And two, it's by design hard to get right. So don't feel discouraged and reach out and we'll try to help as best we can, because we got help from someone to solve this week. And of course, we want to help you guys figure this out. So reach out and we'll try to help as best as we can. And also we're going to make blog posts and videos about this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sessions as well. This way was a good learning experience, and how it all ties into Power Platform pipelines as well, because that was something I dove into a lot this week as well. We are using Power Platform pipelines. And so, I had used them before, but it was sort of like we needed to, divide and conquer some of these things. So I have done ALM in the past, and it was good learning, as always is. And we, like I said, more content coming. Okay. That was a lot. A couple other little points I did see. I'm going to just jump quickly because that was a heavy topic. Let's go to a funner topic for a second. Not that these aren't all fun topics, but I saw this post by Karl-Johan Spiik. He's a Microsoft MVP, and he has this blog post where he describes how he wrote this app that checks to see if the coffee pot is full or how full the coffee pot is. This is mission critical stuff, folks. This is business value. Because there's, obviously we knew we're working on a big go live. It's sort of like, okay, we need to go get coffee. We have coffee machines, but if there was a coffee pot, we wanted to know, is there coffee in it or not before we go get it. What's cool about this, he explains how he does it, how he factors in AI, but he has a couple other follow-up posts on this in terms of tying it into adaptive cards, also looking at potential triggering issues that he ran into. So again, I love this because this is an example of a fun project where you get to learn and you get to try out some of these things, and kind of build your repertoire of knowledge around the Power Platform and what it all can do. So, great post, Karl-Johan. Keep these coming, and hopefully, and may your coffee pot ever be full.
Yeah, that's fun. And also I picked up something from Craig David this week, the Power Apps Performance Optimization, the ultimate guide. And I absolutely love posts like this. 27 items. Do this. Don't do this. If you do this, then this will happen. With short and very concise explanations of why and how to do it right. And to me, this is just, this is going to be bookmarked and going to be up on my screen. Just to have that as a checking reference, because this is hard. And, the amount of, if you don't know what you're doing in Power Apps, chances are it's going to be not performing that well. It's easy to do it the wrong way. Let's put it like that. And also some practices that used to be good practices that are no longer. For instance, putting thing on app on start, for instance. We used to do that all the time. We used to put everything in app on start. Well, guess what happened? It was slow to start. And then now we know not to do that anymore. So things are changing, and it's a good resource to have to keep up to date on everything.
Yeah, I love these little kind of checklists and things like that. These kind of posts, it's just so very handy, and also to redirect other folks to it as well.
Yeah, and not so small. I'm impressed. 27 do's and don'ts. Yeah, that's that he's been around for a while to compile that list.
Yeah, and talking and with lists and good things. I saw a post by Amey Holden. Of course, we've shouted out Amey a few times, and about how so good her blog posts are. And again, Amey. Always because you explain it, you have the screenshots, you point out things. It's just, I really enjoy these. And again, you went through on this post is retrieve member data from customer insights. I'm not all up on customer insights, but even her process, even if you don't use customer insights, this was a really good post about how to query Dataverse and get an array of GUIDs, because manipulating a lot of data is something we have to do in all sorts of model-driven apps. So again, excellent post. And again, telling us how to go through each step of the way. Now, Amey says she's anything but code.
I know. It's not the biggest lie.
There's a bit of code going on here. She even used the chunk it, the chunk function and things like that. So yeah, Amey, I think you're lying to us. I think you're more of a coder than you'll admit to. So,
but that's also something that I appreciate about Amey. She never lies. She tells it like it is, and that's kind of one of the things that is, also a common thread in her blog post. She'll tell it like it is. I really appreciate that. So yeah. But I think it comes back to what you're saying all the time, that Power FX, is it code? Is it not code? What's code? I think that's kind of what she's getting into. It's code.
Code.
Yeah. And something that is also code, speaking of Power FX, working with polymorphic lookups in Power Apps, as type and is type function explained by Debajit Dutta. It's just something that I quickly scroll through. It's one of those things that he probably have the requirement, worked on something for a project, and came across this with polymorphic lookups. Now, for those who doesn't know what that is, it is a lookup where you can have more than one table in the lookup. So for instance, customer can be both account and contact. You can have owner, can be team or business unit, or owner, or contact, or user. Not contact, but user. And regarding, of course, it could be all the activity ones.
And you can make your own. Now, you have to make your own through either code or there's an XrmToolbox. I wrote a blog on this a couple years ago, and I've never really had the opportunity to really implement it. I think, and not a lot of people do, because I think we are missing some of the tooling, that the low code tooling around to do it. But it can solve some specific use cases. So
Yeah, exactly. And this is and this blog post is really about using PowerFX formulas to set and read what type of table you're dealing with in that lookup. So yeah, good blog post. And just a nice reminder. That was really why I brought it up as well. Just a nice reminder to tell people that these polymorphic lookups, I'm sure a lot of people that grew up in Power Platform are not aware of polymorphic lookups. So then we got to say that, and I got to say polymorphic 10 times. Yeah.
All right. So you had something here from our friend Neil Parkhurst about the 365 contact center and speech synthesis.
Well, this is just me being the voice UI not nerd, because I really don't know a lot about it, but I just find it fascinating, right? So this is actually something, a very small blog post about the 3 steps you have to go through in order to make a Copilot Studio say certain phrases, and also you can have it adapt to a different dialect, or kind of adjust the voice a bit. So what it does is it uploads audio to a hosting site that makes that audio file available on the internet. He creates an SSML, being speech synthesis markup language code, to play that audio file, and then he sets the Copilot Studio up to play that audio and with for the right cues as well. So it's just really short and very to the point blog post, which I like, that kind of just touches on one small little solution to one small little thing that you can do. So if this is your field of line of work or something you're interested in, then check it out for sure.
Nice. So something else I saw published this morning, and it ties into a lot of what I was doing when I was kind of in the 90-day mentoring challenge with Mark Smith, and some of the communities that were created after the fact as a fallout of that. So again, if you are thinking about signing up for the 90-day mentoring challenge, it's great content, but also the communities that kind of spin up from that are really cool. And there's a community building out there about freelancing, and a lot of people going through that. They're thinking about freelancing. They're thinking about going out on their own. Obviously, different countries and different regions have different rules around taxation, and if it's full-time contract or employee contracts and all these types of things. But there's also some fundamentals about going off on your own. Now, I've been freelancing kind of on and off since 2006. Of course, I've grown a company. I've managed a company. I took that company into a large consulting firm. I got back out of that. I am now an employee of one, and really like to kind of stick mostly to that structure. And that's how I do it. And I like to say, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I've been pretty successful because I've been able to pay my bills and travel the world and do different projects and do different things. So I love, the freelancing kind of working lifestyle. So Mark has started a series of articles. He's posted the first one today about getting started with freelancing. He has a whole bunch of other articles. And now I know sometimes people might say, well, I'm going to write these 10 blog articles, and then they never do. I know for sure Mark has got them already written already. He just is scheduling his public, because this is what Mark does, clicks and everything. He's got this whole thing down. But that being said, there's great content there. And there's great content coming. He gave me a shout out, which I was kind of surprised with. So that also means I'm probably going to get pinged for some extra work, which is can't complain about that. So yeah, if you're interested in freelancing, definitely check that out. I know a few years ago, I have a series of YouTubes I did. I think they're still kind of relevant. It was happening right before the pandemic. But it is something that I keep thinking in the back of my head that I want to write new content around as well, because I think it is a very rewarding career path, but it's not for everybody, and it's not easy sometimes, but it is a consideration.
Yeah, very much so. Well, good. we have another little thing that we wanted to touch on. We saw a new conference pop up, a low-code, no-code dedicated conference, a virtual one called Microsoft Power Platform Conference 2024. And it was kind of surprising to us that they could use that name, because we know that other conferences have had to change their names because you aren't really allowed to use Microsoft Power Platform Conference that way. And we started to look into it, and I don't know about you, but I'm going to read the introduction paragraph here. And anyone that this sounds familiar to, please raise a hand. Embark on a transformative journey into the realm of innovation at the highly anticipated low-code, no-code Power Platform Conference 2024. Join us for our groundbreaking experience where cutting-edge technology converges with creativity, empowering you to revolutionize software development like never before. Sounds familiar?
Certainly.
It's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even been edited.
No, so we have a theory, because we tried to find who in the community was behind this. We couldn't really find anybody. So we think this is, and we're not, this isn't the Power Platform Boost conspiracy podcast or anything. Well, not yet. Maybe we will, maybe we should be, but we're thinking that this is AI finally becoming self-aware, Copilot becoming self-aware, and now beginning to put on virtual conferences on its own without any kind of human involvement.
Or if there are someone out there that knows who's behind this, because you look at even on the description page, the introduction, they have an agenda with keynote, session, no speaker names. I go into the contact page on that website, and it's a contact form. You can't see who's behind it. We open up the Facebook page that is associated with this webpage. There's nothing, no names, nothing. It's just links to YouTube videos for other people. So we're curious. Who's behind it? If you know, please shout out and let us know who's behind it. Because we're curious. That's what it is.
And ultimately, we'd like to promote our friends in the community with their events and everything like that. So we want to know. We want to help you promote this. But right now, it looks like Copilot's doing all the work. So maybe Copilot, good job, buddy.
Good job, yeah. Good job, buddy. We love you. Yeah. Sarah. Right. So, but on to real life events also. We wanted to mention just quickly, because we're a bit short on time already, but Power Platform Community Conference in Vegas is coming up. European Fabric Community Conference, September 24th till 27th is coming up. That's in Sweden. Nordic Summit in Oslo, September 27th to 28th. Irish Power Platform Summit on October 3rd, Scottish Summit October 18th, and Nick has stopped his recording. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, because we have Scottish Summit October 18th till 19th. We have something called Directions, EMEA. I don't know what that is. Do you want to share
so that's
something?
It's the European Directions Conference. It's really more focused on Business Central, but also bringing in more Power Platform content there. That's in Vienna, November 6th to 8th. So yeah, that's another one that's kind of on the calendar as well.
Nice. And then Mastering Model-Driven Power Apps, Power Conference in Prague with Nick and Angeliki. And that's December, right? First week of December, 5th to 6th.
Yeah, we're doing a workshop on model-driven apps. So yeah, that's another one to check out. Lots of stuff happening.
Yes, lots of stuff happening. Can't wait to see all of you there. So, and our next episode, you put that in here already, is September 18th. And until then, take care, have fun, and we'll catch you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please make sure you share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. And be sure to leave a rating or a review on your favorite streaming service. That makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on social platforms and make sure you don't miss a single episode. Thank you for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your host, Ulrikke Ackerbeck and Nick Dolman. See you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news and updates.